Okay, listener, ever get that creepy feeling like someone's watching you in the dark? Well, imagine that feeling in 1918 New Orleans, but instead of some vague dread, it's the Axeman, lurking in the shadows. We're going deep on this one. Newspaper clippings, witness statements, even some of the eerie jazz tunes from the era.
What really gets me, though, is how this story wasn't just about the murders themselves, you know? Think about New Orleans back then. Jazz, voodoo, whispers in the dark.
Right, like the city itself was already kind of on edge.
Exactly. And then you add this terrifying figure breaking into homes in the middle of the night, preying on families in their sleep. Ugh, it just gets under your skin.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, so the setting. We're in New Orleans, 1918 to 1919, right in the heart of the jazz scene. But the music in this story, it takes on a whole other meaning with the Axeman on the loose. Let's talk about his, well, I guess you could say his calling card, the axe. Why an axe, do you think?
Well, I mean, it's brutal, right? Visceral. It speaks to a kind of rage, a need to inflict pain that goes beyond just, well, killing. And it's even more unsettling when you consider that he often used the victim's own axe.
Oh, that's just cold. Okay, yeah, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. So, who were the Axeman's victims? Let's start with the first attack. That would be Joseph and Catherine Maggio. May 23rd, 1918. What exactly happened?
So picture this. The Maggios are sound asleep in their home, right? Then, bam, someone's breaking in. They wake up to the sound of shattering glass.
Oh, God, I can't imagine.
And then they see him, a shadowy figure wielding an axe.
Just the thought of that. And to make it even creepier, there was a razor found at the scene, right? And that bizarre message.
Yeah, the message. That's what really sent chills down people's spines. It was like something out of a nightmare.
So it wasn't just a robbery then, right? This was personal.
It certainly seemed that way. The message, scrawled near their home, it specifically threatened Mrs. Maggio, said she would meet the same fate as a Mrs. Tony. Targeted, menacing, and terrifying, especially for the Italian-American community. This wasn't just random violence, it felt calculated.
Okay, so we're already talking about a terrifying situation. But unfortunately, this is just the beginning. Let's talk about the next attack. June 27th, 1918. Louis Bessumer and Harriet Lowe. Now, this case is where things get really strange.
This one, yeah, it's like something out of a twisted love story gone wrong. You've got Bessumer, he's badly hurt, like really badly, found in his grocery store, barely clinging to life. And next to him,
Harriet Lowe.
Right, his mistress, even worse off than him. But here's the thing. It's not just the blood and the violence, right? It's the accusations that start flying around that make this case so messed up.
Okay, yeah, this is where things take that crazy turn. Harriet Lowe, she claims Bessumer, her lover, is the one who attacked her.
Exactly. She says he just snapped, that he's the Axeman.
She was also badly injured,
Yeah.
right? I mean, could that have messed with her memory? Her perception of what happened?
Totally. I mean, the woman was traumatized, could have been delusional, whatever. But then it gets even weirder. She goes on to accuse Bessumer of being a German spy.
Oh, wow. Because of those foreign letters they found in his shop.
Yep. And remember, this is right in the middle of World War I. Paranoia about spies and sabotage was everywhere.
So you've got this already terrifying situation, and then you throw suspicion, prejudice, maybe even some manipulation on top of that. Like a powder keg waiting to blow.
And Bessumer, he's stuck right in the middle of it. He insists he's innocent, but
Nobody's really listening.
nope. They're too caught up in the fear of the Axeman, the suspicion of anyone different, you know. And in the end, Bessumer, he becomes a victim too.
Arrested, thrown in jail.
Even though Lowe eventually takes back her accusations. It's a chilling reminder, you know, about how easily things can get twisted, how fear can poison everything.
It's like the Axeman's terror. It wasn't just contained to the attacks themselves. You know, it spread like a virus through the entire city.
A virus of suspicion and dread. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And as if things weren't bad enough, you have more attacks. Take Anna Schneider, August 5th, 1919. Attacked in her own bed.
8 months pregnant. Just awful.
That one, it really shook people up. Proved that no one was safe. Not even a pregnant woman in her own home. The fact that she survived, fought back, it's almost unbelievable.
Talk about terrifying, though. To be that vulnerable, that close to giving birth, and then...
Yeah, it's the stuff of nightmares. And then just a few days later, you have the murder of Joseph Romano, August 10th, 1919.
His nieces, they were the ones who witnessed it, right?
Yeah.
I can't even imagine what that must have been like for them.
Horrific. They described seeing a large man, powerful, like he was moving with, I don't know, a sense of purpose. Their descriptions, they just fueled the nightmare for everyone. Suddenly, the Axeman wasn't just some guy with an axe. He was something more, something monstrous, unstoppable.
Okay, so the tension's building, the fear is spreading, and then you have the Cordemelia family, March 10th, 1919. This one is especially hard to hear about.
It's this is where things cross over into like pure horror movie territory. We're talking about Gretna now, just across the river from New Orleans. The Cordemelia family, they were asleep in their beds, probably could hear that faint jazz music drifting over from the city, and then chaos.
Someone's breaking into their home.
Exactly. Breaking glass, screams. Charles Cordemelia, his wife Rosie, even their little girl, Mary, she was only 2 years old.
Oh, God, not a child.
None of them were spared. The Axeman, he didn't hold back.
It's just senseless. Even for the Axeman, this is a new level of awful. How could anyone do something like that?
Honestly, I don't know. But it wasn't just the violence itself, this case. It really exposed how deeply the fear had sunk into the city.
You're talking about the aftermath, right? The accusations against the Giordanos.
Yeah. Rosie Cordemelia, she survived the attack, but she was badly hurt, traumatized, understandably so. But in her grief and confusion, she accused her neighbors, the Giordanos, of the crime.
And people believed her.
They did. Remember, everyone's terrified, looking for someone to blame. And the Giordanos, they were different. Immigrants, outsiders.
So they were easy targets.
It's easy to judge in hindsight, you know. But yeah, in that climate of fear, all it took was an accusation. Even though Charles Cordemelia, he told anyone who'd listen that the Giordanos were innocent. Didn't matter. They were arrested, put on trial, convicted.
All based on nothing.
Pretty much. The evidence was flimsy, circumstantial at best, but nobody wanted to hear it. They just wanted someone to pay for what happened. It's a dark reminder that sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones we create ourselves.
Okay, wow. That's, yeah. So the city's reeling from this horrific crime. The fear is reaching fever pitch. And it's right about then that the Axeman decides to send that chilling letter to the newspaper.
Right. Talk about knowing how to make an entrance. March 13th, 1919, this letter appears. And it's a wild ride, boasting about the murders, threatening more to come. But then there's this whole weird thing about jazz music.
He said he was a demon from hell, right?
Yeah.
But that he wouldn't kill anyone if they were playing jazz music in their homes.
Yep. Claimed he loved jazz so much that any home filled with its sounds would be spared. And you gotta wonder, was he serious? Was this some kind of twisted joke? Or was he actually, I don't know, a demon with a soft spot for jazz?
It's hard to say. But people definitely weren't taking any chances.
Not a chance. March 19th, 1919, the night the Axeman said he'd returned, the whole city basically turned into a giant jazz club. Every house with a phonograph, every bar, every street corner, just jazz, 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 all night long.
I can only imagine what that must have sounded like. Eerie, I bet.
I'd imagine so. The whole city holding its breath, praying that the music would be enough to keep the Axeman at bay. And when morning came and there were no new victims, relief. But also this underlying unease. Did they really outsmart the Axeman, or had he simply moved on to, I don't know, terrorize some other unsuspecting town?
So the music worked, at least for one night. But like you said, it didn't last. The attacks continued.
Sadly, yeah. Just a few months later, you have the attack on Steve Boca, August 10th, 1919.
This one always gets to me. Imagine waking up in the middle of the night, and there he is, the Axeman, standing over your bed.
Ugh, it's the stuff of nightmares. Boca, he survived, thankfully, but can you imagine the terror?
And as if that wasn't bad enough, there's the attack on Sarah Laumann just a few weeks later, September 3rd, 1919.
This one was particularly brutal. She was badly injured, lost some teeth, the whole thing. It really made people wonder, was this the same Axeman? Or had someone else decided to pick up where he left off?
So even with the city on high alert, even with the jazz music playing, the Axeman, or at least someone like him, was still out there.
Exactly. It really drove home the point that they were dealing with something unpredictable. And then, silence. The last possible Axeman attack, Mike Pepitone, October 27th, 1919. But even that one, it's never been definitively linked to the others.
And that's it. That's how it ends. No arrest, no explanation, no final showdown.
That's the thing about the Axeman. He just disappeared, like a ghost.
So, what are we left with? Who was the Axeman? What did he want? Was he really some kind of demon? Or just a man?
That, my friend, is the million-dollar question. He's a mystery, a ghost story, a reminder that sometimes the most terrifying things are the ones we can't explain.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but I'm definitely sleeping with the lights on tonight.
Me too. Me too.
Well, that's it for tonight's deep dive. Join us next time when well, let's just say we'll be exploring another dark corner of history. Until then, listener, try to stay out of the shadows.